What's up guys, welcome to Daily Refinement. In today's video, I'm talking about the fastest way to learn how to resell, how to make your sales go a lot faster. I actually have the answer for you in today's video. It's not clickbait. So please smash the like button, consider subscribing. We're in the car today for Reseller Car Talk. Let's get into it. So my sold method is start with quality, optimize your listings, lower the price or liquidate if it doesn't sell, and then discard and throw the item away if it doesn't sell, even after auctioning it. That's my sold method, but it's not specific enough for people who are just starting because they don't know what start with quality means. They don't know what optimizing means. They have no idea the right way to lower the price so they're not losing too much money. And they're reluctant to discard things because they already have that sunk cost of spending money on an item and they don't really want to throw it away. They want to get something out of it. So that being said, I have another method that's faster, and that is the 1-3-1 method, which is you start with one problem, you come up with 3 solutions, and then you can either ask me or ask somebody you know for one recommendation. Ideally, you're asking somebody who's already done it, that way they can give you recommendation from experience. But I'm going to tell you why my reselling has exploded probably over the last 4 or 5 years. I've gone from 40 sales a day to like 1,200 sales a day. Now, I know exactly what happened. So I want to share that with you today. So first off, I got engaged. So in 2018, I decided I wanted to marry my wife. She's like a planner. She's a super planner. So she's like, I know what kind of ring I want. I know what kind of life I want. I know what kind of kids I want. So like, let's start this thing, this machine going. We'd already been dating for 7 years at the time. And now we've been married for 5 years already. But when I started in 2018, all these things required all these things that I didn't know yet. So I needed to save for a wedding ring. I didn't know how to do that. So I had to like make more money than I normally did to also pay for the ring. Then we had a wedding, an Asian wedding with like 150 people, which was astronomically expensive. I had to figure out how to pay for that. Then we bought our first condo and all these things were broken in it and I had to learn how to fix things. Then the only house we could afford, which is on the plan of things that she wanted to do, was a complete fixer-upper. Every single part of the house needed to be repaired. Total gut job. Literally went in, tore everything out except for the floors. The person that lived there before us raised 4 kids in a 2-bedroom house. Insane. So 2-bedroom house, 7-figure house, which is absolutely bonkers in the Bay Area to pay over $1 million for a home that's 1,000 square feet, and had to strip every single part of it and redo it. So my wife and I, while having a newborn, planned every single part of how the house was built, and we dealt with, I want to say 50 plus contractors, everything, fencing, lawn, electrical, plumbing, the wall, general contractors, like so many different people. The insulation, the home was just basically a box with a brand new foundation and a brand new roof. It's like, do you say roof or roof? So I can't believe that we had to do that from scratch, almost like building your own house, except for we were stuck with 1,000 square foot blueprint. So I had to learn how to communicate very clearly what I needed done. And there were so many iterations with contractors coming back saying, these materials aren't available. This is late. This is early. And dealing with all of that, I think prepared me for how to become a great reseller and to grow my business, because it's the same thing. All these different parts and pieces of your business require problem solving. I used to say earlier in my career that every problem takes 4 hours to fix. Your printer's broken, run out of, whatever happens in your resale business takes 4 hours to fix. This is how you resell faster and get sales faster. You just have to fix it in less than 4 hours. It's gonna take a while to fix something. You have to sit down, write. If you're like me, I'm not smart enough to do it in my head, so I have to write it down, like, what is the problem? What is some possible solutions? And then what am I gonna try to do? Over and over again. And over time, I have developed a lot of experience where I can see problems before they even start. I can see communication errors. Right now, I was just installing the lock on this door, and I realized that now that the door temperature can change and it can affect the way the lock goes into the door jamb. Even yesterday to today, it affected the door. So now I'm gonna do more training today and let people know, even though this is a brand new door in a brand new building, if the temperature changes, you're gonna have to jiggle it to get the door to open. The door jiggle is just a thing that people have to learn. And if you've lived in any home where the temperature has changed, you've had to do a jiggle. So now with that experience, I know I can train people. And the more experience people have, you don't have to explain that, but you should explain it to someone with zero experience. And that, in my opinion, is the sign of a true expert. It's not saying, hey, figure out how the door works. That would work if you had a skilled person operating it, but not everyone would know how to do that. I have had workers that can't get in because they didn't know how to do a door jiggle, or they told me I need to replace the door. And I said, one of my workers was saying, I really want to tell your landlord about the door. And I said, okay, I can kind of guess how that conversation will go, but you're happy to talk to the landlord, but it's going to go like, I'm not going to fix the door because when the temperature changes, it's going to shift again. Because there's no way that you would invest time in fixing the door if it still works, but then the temperature is going to change. I live in an area where it can get hot or cold in a couple of days. So she went and talked to the landlord. He said, I'm totally happy to fix the door. Door is something I consider a safety mechanism. But since the door works, I'm not going to change it because the temperature is going to change again in a couple of weeks. So it happened already. I can foresee that. And that's what happens when you resell. You can buy something and say, I don't want to buy this because I know down the road, I'm going to have 8 of these out of the 100 that don't sell, and they're going to take up all my space. This is where projects really kill you as a reseller because you don't really know what's going to happen. Now, all this stuff that I am buying, all these problems that happen in my resale business, almost all of them I've seen before. I have an idea. Yesterday, because we're now setting up 5 different workstations, I didn't realize this, but I have a pretty decent set of IT skills. I can hook up multiple internets, multiple printers on the same device. Every single computer was purchased, sadly, at a different time. So I have 5 different computers from 5 different eras with 5 different software, which now I understand why the government runs on Windows 95, because can you imagine changing 3,000 computers or maybe 30,000 computers? So ideally, everything would have the same equipment. Now, if I could redo it, I would go back and buy all the same computer, and maybe I will do that in the future. But what I did was I just bought computers as I was growing, and I just bought a computer as similar as possible to it. And this is the crazy part. I started reselling in 2016, full-time 2017. One of my computers here is from 2014. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself that I've done a decent job saving money and recycling things over the years, because I have a computer in here that's almost 11 years old. So pretty psyched about how things are going. But the IT part definitely messes people up, because if the mouse is not working, the keyboard is not working, the battery is wrong, something is switched on or off, all of these things can affect your resale business, because a resale business is just logistics. It's just delivering something that somebody wants to them. And you can just rename reselling to helping. You're helping somebody who wants something find it, helping them get it safely, helping them troubleshoot it. This is why selling electronics is more difficult than selling clothing like me, because I bought a wireless cellular router. And every single time T-Mobile changed their settings, I would have to call the seller and say, can you help me rewire it? Because T-Mobile's cellular settings are different. So my cell phone internet doesn't work anymore. And the seller would either say, get bent, don't contact me anymore, and I had to go to another YouTube video, or if he was feeling good, he would just like tell me how to fix it. But he was doing that every single time a cellular phone thing changed, and that's crazy. So as I'm setting this up, as you are setting up your resale business, the fastest way is just to learn faster. Because what drives me crazy is when people come to me and they've been doing the same thing week after week after week, don't make any changes, and they expect a different result. The only result you can expect if you're doing it the same way every single week is that the system will eventually not work and you will not know how to adapt. So somebody this morning was saying, Chris, I think, I don't know if anybody's ever mentioned this, but I tried to increase my listing goal by 1 and it messed up everything. And I'm like, I think about that all the time. Any change affects the entire operation. If you go from 10 a day to 11 a day and you do $20 profit on that one item, that one extra item is $7,300 more profit a year. That's insane. That's like a lot of people's mortgage payment. That's definitely a lot of people's car payment. That's groceries with just one listing a day. Everyone's talking about increasing 10 listings, 20 listings, 50 listings, when really 1 or 2 listings is all you need to really significantly change your life. I broke it down into an hourly wage. Every listing at $20 profit is a $3.50 hourly wage increase. It's a lot. It's a tremendous increase. Like when you're at a job, they usually don't increase your pay by more than $1. It's usually like you get a 30-cent raise for cost of living. That's not a significant amount, but one listing is a significant amount. It's $7,000 more. So when people are saying, I want to increase by 10 more, I think they're not realizing that's one more full-time job, one more full-time good job you're adding on top of your job, right? In a normal circumstance, you wouldn't tell your wife or your husband, I'm going to pick up another 70K next year. They're going to be like, how are you going to do 2 jobs? You already have a job, right? So reselling is this crazy thing where there is no ceiling. You can run an operation of any size. Since I started growing, I've been meeting a lot more resellers in the 10 million plus range, and their operations are very different. Their problems are very different. And the most recent one I talked to, he doesn't do anything except for sit at his desk. Like, I was looking at his, I'm like, what does it look like to run a $30 million business? He's like, it looks like just sitting at a desk all day. I actually don't know what's going on in most of the operation because I can't. There's like so many different people doing so many different things that all I can look at is the result. I can't look at how it's being made. I have to delegate, like, hey, these need to be prepared. These need to be cleaned. This needs to be ordered. And all of these visual cues I'm learning how to put here. So for example, I need to know all the orders that are shipped, all the orders that are not shipped, all the customer issues that have been solved, those that are still open. All of these in really nice facilities are visible. So customer service person can see, oh, we have 8 things to work on. Oh, we have 10 things to work on. Because for me, 1% customer questions is like 10 to 15 requests a day, requests that need to be answered. So everything here is so significant. And I really love the lean manufacturing 6 Sigma method where they're trying to reduce defects to like 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000. Because otherwise, if you're doing millions of dollars worth of business or selling millions of dollars worth of things, you would never be able to stay in business because the problems would just grow to an unsurmountable level. You wouldn't be able to fix everything. So why am I telling you this if you're just starting? Because I think it's so important to learn how things work, right? Learn how every single button works. Learn how every single thing in the title affects it. Ask why. Think about different strategies. The people who do the best at reselling are asking, what's better, this title, or this title? What's better, this photo weight or this photo weight? Somebody asked me this morning some different things why I would recommend a phone over a camera. I can actually argue both sides. Phone, you almost always have it. It's in your pocket, right? If you sync Google Photos or AirDrop, it's relatively easy to get the photos to your computer. Once you surpass a certain amount, it becomes a little bit more buggy, but a small number of photos can be transferred pretty easily. A lot of people also build the listings 100% on their cell phone, upload the photos there, all stored in one device. Once you upload it, you delete it. Not a terrible solution. I prefer the camera for many reasons because one, the SD card can be plugged directly into my computer, or if you get an SD card reader, you can plug it in there. The transfer is much better than wirelessly, right? There's no internet on the phone, so you're not as distracted. I like the reticulating screen on cameras because it's more comfortable. I like the shutter speed because it can be really fast. And it allows you more controls to control the aperture, the shutter speed. You have more control on the camera. And once you set up a good lighting setup, cameras take better pictures. So if you look at my Poshmark, which is Reseller Nirvana, and you look at the photos, no iPhone can take pictures like that because it's different. On an iPhone or a Droid, I actually think that the camera makes the item look better than it is. Not as much detail, not as crisp. So it is what it is. I think cameras are better than phones for that reason, but I can understand the pros and cons of both. Anybody that tells you there's only one way to do it, it's not true. There's just different applications for different things. If you want to go the cheapest possible route, just use what you have. If you want to upgrade, I recommend getting a camera with an SD card. It really doesn't matter what kind of camera, as long as you learn how to use it, all the buttons on it, plug it in, and get your listings up. I feel like the number one thing I can share with you guys is the thing that leveled me up the most was working with contractors. It has helped me so much because it's made me wonder, can I do this myself? What is my time worth versus hiring somebody to do it? If I sweep the floor here, it takes 30 minutes. can I hire this out for someone else to do 30 minutes of sweeping? Or is that a waste of time because it's 3 phone calls to get a hold of somebody, vet that person, have them come, and by then I might as well have just swept it myself. I've already invested so much time. So I'm actually looking for recurring relationships. So people who can present me supply, people who can do deliveries. Now, the post office delivery person here, I don't think works for the post office. I think he's a contractor because his attitude's very different. And I think if you're an independent contractor, you can be fired at any moment. A government worker can't really be fired, from my understanding, as easily as a contractor can. So maybe they become a little bit more complacent. So you have to understand the incentives for the contractors that you're working. Do they get paid more if they do it faster, or the same no matter how fast they do it? And I found that independent contractors who do fencing, roofing, insulation, driveway, grass, sand, everything, they all operate as fast as they can with no mistakes. Because mistakes, you have to go back and redo it. You have to like change it. And sometimes when you're redoing a house or remodeling, there are contingencies like you cannot change it because we're not going to allow you to change something and mess up this 100-item list of things that need to happen for your house to be done on time. Like, this is it. If it's wrong, you're going to have to hire somebody else to fix it because the wheels are moving, right? And the more changes you make, the more expensive it becomes, the more difficult it becomes to manage, and you have no timeline. That's why I am recommending you pick one niche to specialize in. Now, this is the part that I'm going to end on, but it's also like the most important part. So please make sure you smash the like button and consider subscribing. The everything seller is required in order to become a healthy niche reseller, in my opinion. So for me, since I've resold so many different things in so many different categories, I feel like I can actually appreciate the items that I sell fully. I appreciate them. I understand what goes into them, how to sell it, how to reduce customer service, how to make sure customers are as happy as possible. I fully appreciate it. And I also know how difficult other categories are. So when you're picking up something at Goodwill saying, I'm going to flip this for 10 bucks without knowing the full story, I think you're kind of disrespecting that Santa doll, because like there's a lot of nuance that goes into selling plush, a lot of nuance that goes into selling holiday stuff. And you may not know that. You might be an antique cabinet seller, try to dabble into the Santa figurine arena, and it's going to take you a lot more time, a lot more space, and ultimately it's going to cost you a lot more money. So hopefully this video actually helps you guys get to the next level. I think if you really, really, really wanted to up your game, you would work with as many contractors as possible and think about if it's worth your time or not. Like if you're brushing your teeth, is it worth it to have somebody else do that for you? Or is it worth it for you to do it yourself? This is where the VA thing really helped me, because I realized they're as good as your instructions. A VA is as good as your instructions, right? So me understanding that reselling is just building a script, it's just building a list of instructions. That's it. The better your list of instructions, the better your business. Has helped me understand it's not based on your willpower. It's not based on you working around the clock. I can safely say that selling $1,000 a day, 1,000 items per day is easier than 10 for me at this point. It's different. It's different. Me selling 10 would actually be more physical work than selling 1,000, but different kinds of work. So appreciate you guys. Until next time, consider subscribing. Check out my website, dailyrefinement.com. It's going to change a little bit over the next few months, but until next time, guys, make progress daily.